Hello everyone, welcome. Beautiful day, Mohammed Ali from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Welcome, as today we're going to take you to Italy. Our topic today is going to be the narrative of Africa, right? What are some of the things that affect Africa that, people cannot pay more attention, like the educational sector, like the bad leadership and the destabilization of Africa and the reaping of the African resources. So today we're going to take you to Italy to interview one of our brother, a revolutionary, a visionary from Italy. He is Pandi Maica, the biggest Pandi Maica, the youngest Pandi Maica, the youngest revolutionary in Africa right now as we take you to Italy, right? So he is here right now with us. You'll be watching, and if interests you, you can able to comment, like and share, right? Pandi Maica is a born Gambian living presently in Italy, and he has been making very impact in the African society today because his revolutionary speaks, right? His visionary style where he can able to put things in people can understand, people can able to see where the problems lies, right? They can able to see themselves in the very particular problem, right? So join us today as we going to have Pandi Maica with us to talk about the narrative of Africa, the problem of some of the problems that that cannot be easily identified, that is very critical, but that that's the problem of Africa. People will be saying like we have fluctuation of bad leadership and stuff, but there is some problem that need to be to be solved between us here so that nobody can able to have influence on us, right? So join us, like I was saying, share, like. Once again, I am Mohammed Ali, the CEO and the founder of With Africa, living in Sierra Leone, West Africa, right? He's going to be here with us just now, right? Just be patient and stay with us right now. As he joins us, you're going to see, listen and hear from himself. Very young, dynamic, pan-African mindset person, right? So guys, thank you very much wherever you are. Mohammed Ali from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Thank you for following With Africa. Thank you for liking With Africa. All the posts and what we've been posting, we've been sharing, and we really appreciate that, right? And also we encounter some challenges. What are some of the challenges we encounter in the With Africa? Like is the restrictions. We encounter so much restriction because what we post here, most of the posts we post, we find it in Google because we think that whatever you find in Google, it is very applicable, and it is very it is proven that it's a fact what we find in Google. But at the end of the day, we're going to get reported by some people because they don't want to see what we post about Africa. For some instances, like some of these things are like the histories of Pan-African, geologists and other, like one of our some of our engineers, invention, black inventions. Most likely where we have this problem is through the black invention. When we introduce the black inventions in With Africa, when we post, it gets a lot of shares, and when it gets a lot of shares, some people feel offended. Like for example, when we posted about who invented the CCTV cameras, who invented the 3HD, who invented the Harley Davidson. Most of these inventions, who draw the plans of Washington, most of these are base facts. When you go to Google and Wikipedia, you often get them. But when you get them, like when you want to post it for to motivate African youth, like they can able to do it, but you get reported. And people on Facebook, it's not just people like stay in the back of the machine. This is just people that is just things that have been put in there, right? So when somebody gets you reported, they get you restricted, right? So when you get restricted, and it can put bad effect on the page, let our growth to decrease, and then we go put our page. So that's what has been in keeping us back. So as I was saying, we're going to have Pandi Maica here with us right now. As I just invited him, he will be here with us just now. Pandi Maica, I've already invited you. Please join the conversation so people will be listening. And today we have a lot of views. People want to listen from you. I have just invited you. Just look at the screen, and you will be added. Accept. So, Pandi Maica, I'm just waiting on you right now. Okay. Okay. He is here right now with us, Pandi Maica, the one and only Pandi Maica, the revolutionary, the visionary, the young Pan-African who believe in the destiny of Africa and its people. Right? For you watching us here, like I was saying, he's from Italy. He was born in the Gambia. Right? But nevertheless, he never turned his back to Africa because he is not in the continent. No, he keeps making African youths to feel like, whatever they think, he speak it for you to see what he was speaking. So Panimaka, thank you very much and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, my brother. I'm so happy to be here once again. After from our last life, coming together to put our mindset as Africans. I was so happy about it, and many Africans get educated through our conversations. So I'm happy again to be here, and I'm thanking all your followers and your organization that is called We for Africa, as you are the CEO of We for Africa, and I really appreciate the effort you people are putting on to see that Africa is liberated and to see that Africans' mindset are changed. And I really appreciate again and to be on your part, to see a young Africans waking up, like me, is a motivation to every African youth out there, no matter how young you are. I think we should all remind ourselves that where we came from, nobody can develop it for us and nobody can make it free for us. We need to fight for our freedom and we need to fight for everything that we want. you know so it's like, I will say something that about when people says I live in Europe. That's always people's questions. Before we will go into program, I want to remind people one thing they need to understand. Not everybody who came to Europe came to find money and go back home. you know we need to know these people. These people have been in our continent for so long. There is no African who will tell you that I came to Europe to study Europeans, to know what they plan for against Africa, to know how these people strategize on Africa. Nobody. I put that as my work, to study them, to know who these people are, to know what do they want from Africa, and what were they doing to Africa till today. What are the problems? When we all sit in Africa and say, okay, we want to fight for Africa, and we are fighting against peoples that we don't know. We don't know who they are. We don't know how they operate. We don't know their plans. But they always go to Africa to know what we plan, who are we, what is our problem, how can they manipulate us, how can they change our mindset. They came in among us and stay with us. Some people came like a tourisms. They say we are tourists, we came to this country, but there are peoples who came to investigate. You Africans. So what about we? Nobody is studying them. We are not studying them. We forget about them. So my stay in Europe, even Europeans are afraid. Trust me. So thank you so much, my brother, once again, and I thank all your followers and every listeners out there. And I will encourage everyone as an African to share this video to go far and for many Africans to be educated from this life today. Thank you so much, my brother, once again.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I was saying, whosoever listening is Pandimaica, the revolutionary, the Pan-Africanist, and the visionary living in Italy, and has been creating an impact in Africa and outside Africa. Like people like watching him, sharing his videos, and he has gone very viral. So we are very blessed to have him here on the Beef Africa. So today, family, the viewers, the followers. So today, our first question going to start with education. And Pandimaica, I hope you are listening, right?
Yeah.
Education as a program. Education is a programming tool, right, for Africans not to grow economically. For example, right, in our schools, we have been making, English compulsory while agriculture is optional. So at the end of the day, you'll be speaking good English while you are with an empty stomach, right? This reflects me for our people out there in the villages sometimes. They did very good agricultural system in their village. They grow their agricultural farm, it go well, and while the people who study in university don't have any farm. So what did you study? So let's say the people who did this very agricultural system in the villages, what if they get the education through their own language? How their agriculture will look like, right? So this is a question. Education is a programming tool for Africans to grow. What's your takes on this?
And that's the fact, like I say, I always tell Africans that the education that they are having right now, the education system is a fake. And when I hear some Africans saying that education is a scam, I really appreciate them for having that mentality that African education system is a scam to every youth out there. If you check the education system in Africa, either French, Portuguese, or English, it's a fake. I learned English. I was in school for almost 12 years. For number one, that is a waste of time. They waste our future because when I learned English for 12 years and I came to Europe, I found out that the education system that they just post and the education system that they have, they are quite far different. We go to school for 12 years. After that, you go to university for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. You waste how many years of your future about learning because you want to become something tomorrow. At the end of the day, when you spend or waste 20 years of your life, you don't become nothing. You become a farmer. When you learn how to become a bank manager, you end up being selling something in the market. When you learn how to become a country economic manager, you end up being a conductor. Why? Because the education is a scam. These people, they know Africans and they never want us to grow. So they give us a system that will always make us to make fool out of ourselves. So the education system is a fully scam to every African out there. We have seen peoples who educated, where are the peoples, who educated from Africa and they have a scholarship to Canada, America, UK? Where are they? They are working with UK today. Why? Because they have learned what UK want them to learn, and UK will not let them to go back to Africa with that knowledge. They will let them to invest that knowledge in their country. That's why none of them are coming back to work for Africans. If we check in America today, we have many black. The most intelligent doctor in America today is a female. Is a female from Ghana. It's a female from Ghana, a black African, who is the best doctor today in America, in the whole mighty America, is a Ghanaian.
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. You're right. Even the best surgeon in the world, Ben Carson, is a black.
Thank you so much. So you see, these people fool us. When I came to Europe, I see their education system. They go to school. When they send their children to school, within 6 years, their children started earning from what they learned in school. They started working. They started investing. They started making it. A 15 years old boy here have already know what he wanna become tomorrow and is already working on it, what he learned from school in Europe here. Africa, a 15 years old boy is just playing, still going to school to learn, and he don't know nothing. So the education system in Africa was prepared to fool us, was prepared to make sure that we hate ourselves. The education system that they give us, they call it education. It's not education, my brother. It's called suffocation. You learn how to suffocate yourself. You learn how to suffocate yourself. Nobody. That's why when they give us the education system, they came with the system like, there will be nobody when your country, like for Gambia, example, or let me take an example with Gambia. Gambia learn English. When a Gambian want to become a president, they must choose someone who have a certificate of suffocation. That means certificate of your education level. You must provide it before you will become a president. Why do they set that trap for us? Because they know whatever your people are learning in school, they are learning how to suffocate themselves. And when they become a leader, they only learn how to suffocate. They don't learn how to develop. They don't learn how to maintain. They only learn how to suffocate. That's why there is no leader in Africa who is maintaining or developing his country. They are only suffocating their peoples. Why? Because that's what they learn in schools. Because when they want to become a president, they ask them to provide that suffocation that they call education. So the education was programmed to make Africans to hate themselves, number one. The education was programmed to make Africans to look down on what they have and believe that the Westerners have everything. What do we learn in school? We learn in school about Westerners that they are the great peoples, they have everything, they create helicopters, they create aeroplanes, they create cars, and you know why? We become so lovely. We love them so much. We see them as the most biggest peoples in the world, and we lower ourselves because we don't learn nothing great about ourselves. The only thing we learn about ourselves in school is how we are poor, how we are suffering, how hungry we are, how our forefathers make mistake. Is our mistake that we learn in school about ourselves, but we don't learn any greatness about ourselves in school. So when we came to education, there are so many things about this education system in Africa. That's why when you talk about Africans need to learn their language to know themselves. I really appreciate that part because you know why? We need to form our own education systems. When we don't have our own education systems, we depend on this system. This system is a system that was programmed by them. They can never program something for Africa that will benefit Africa. They only sit and decide, okay, this is what we have to give to Africa. When we give this to them, what will this cost them? It will cost them damages and they will remain in poverty and they will give it to us. Anything that can benefit us, they will never let us to know those things. Yes, they hide those things from us. And if there's nobody to tell us these things, we are going to make a very big mistake. You know, when I see a Mali, why do when Mali says they don't need French anymore, why do it hurt the Westerners? Why were they angry about that? Because they knew that Africans are now knowing the system we give them. And they are all running away from this system. And when they run away from this system and pick up their own system, they are going to make it. And they are going to be liberated.
Yeah,
and
sure.
we can't do nothing to them. So
Good
that make them so angry
very
about
bro.
Africans trying to form their own languages and their own educational systems. Because they feel like Africans are now realizing the system that we give them is a wrong system for them. And they want to build up their own systems. So education, my brother, I advise every Africans, either you are an English, Portuguese, French, it's a scam. It's something that we don't need in Africa. We don't need them because whatever we learn about these peoples, whatever we learn in schools, I realized this when I was in school. What do we learn when we came to SES, Social and Environmental Studies, when we came to technology, IT, Information and Technology, when we came to arts and crafts, when we came to English language, when we came to mathematics, what do we learn? In Africa, in English, I don't know about any other country, but in Gambia, I've seen that a study, so, okay. A student have to study more than 16 subjects. From grade 1, you have to be learning 16 subject. How are you going to know everything about this 16 subject? How do you want to be educated with 16 subject? Is your brain a computer that capture things? No. And when you came to Arab, the system they have, since when you send your child to school, your child have to decide when he want to become a doctor, he will study only science. When he want to become a scientist, he have to study only science and SES. When he want to become a bank manager, he will go and learn only mathematics. He will not mix it with anything. Why do they do that? Because they want them to know it fast. They don't want them to waste their future. Their children to waste their future staying in school for 10 years, 15 years for learning one subject. No, that's why they give them only one subject from the beginning. You depend on it because that's what you want to become. So in 5 years, in next 5 years, you will be so chronic in that subject. And you will know everything about that because there is only that one subject you are learning. But in Africa, we learn math, we learn English, we learn science, we learn SES, we learn biography, geography. We put everything together. You have when a student is going to school in Africa, how many books do you see them? You see them carrying a big bag full of books, full of subjects. With all those books, what are you going to learn? What are you going to get
Nothing.
from that? So here, when they are going to school, you see them with only phone, with their smartphones. You don't even see some people with books in Europe. Their education system, because everything is in the phone. Everything. They put everything for them in the phone. Because they know phone is the mentality. Children don't want to stay without phone. And by pressing phone, they put the subject for you there. Everything is in your phone. Some people go to school here. Majority of them go to school with smartphones. Their subject is in the smartphone. They learn with that smartphone when they get to school. Life from nowhere.
Somebody call. Somebody just call me.
Yeah, my brother. So really, I think the education system, for what I know about the education system, there is more to it, But I think I have extended my beautiful idea about the education system, and Africans need to know it's a scam. We all need to abandon English language in Africa, French language in Africa. We go to Portuguese language in Africa. Even Arabic language in Africa should be banned. This ban, our children should no more learn these languages. These languages should no more live in Africa. When we did this, we will see the effect it will cause Westerners. They are so afraid. So afraid.
very, very afraid to see us dropping their languages, the system that they give us that we call language. You can see it, my brother. If you learn English in Africa, no matter how you learn, if you like, go to school in Africa and learn an English language for 15 years. After that, go to Angleterre. You want to go to school in Angleterre, you will still start fresh after studying 15 years that language in Africa. When you go to Angleterre, you still have to press because you still can't communicate with Angleterres. So what are you learning? You are not even learning a language. You are not educating. You are not learning that language because when you still go to America, you cannot still speak proper English. Yes, we learn for 12 years in school, good 12 years learning English language. We cannot still speak proper English. What is the problem? So is it a language we are learning? No, we are not learning language. We are learning about them, how to love them more and hate ourselves more, how to believe them more and unbelieve ourselves, how to trust them and untrust ourselves, how to depend on them and keep our mind that we don't have nothing. And that's what many Africans' mentality are today. Those who go to school, we believe that white people are the greatest peoples. They can never lie. They can never do wrong things. Why do we have that mentality? Due to the education, what we learn in school. Because our teachers told us things about white people. This is what I tell one teacher in Gambia. When he told me that, he was a headmaster in Gambia. When I went to Gambia, he told me that you need to come to my school, at least with your Pan-African knowledge, you can tell my students something. I told him, your school, you need to be responsible for your school, headmaster. You learn from school when you were young. For how many years do you learn about education before you will become a headmaster? He told me that I spent 17 years. I said 17 years. You spend 17 years and still you come and sit in this office and your salary is just, your salary don't even reach to, 100 euro in a month. Your salary is just 2,500. And you still want these peoples. You are teaching them to remain like you. You are teaching them to become poor like you. Why don't you tell them that this is the same thing that you did and you are still poor? Don't teach them the same thing because they will still be poor. Why are you teaching them the poverty that you passed through? Why don't you teach them different thing? Why don't you teach them? I told him, you are responsible when these people remain like you. When tomorrow they become poor like you are the one who teach them because you pass through the same level. And you see that it have no beautiful effect in your life. It only give you bad experience in your life because still you are not comfortable in this office here. He told me that, my brother, you are right. I still learn. I remember all this suffer that I do to pay my school fees, and today I am still sitting here. I can still even pay my house rent. When they pay me in a month, I buy bag of rice for my children's school fees self. I go and borrow it before month will finish again. And I told him, you are teaching these children the same thing to go and do tomorrow when they become a father, when they have responsibilities. You are teaching them the same thing. So why don't you change the education systems? You teachers have a role to play in African liberation. You teachers think you don't have a role to play. The teachers have a role to play. The doctors have a role to play. The president, the ministers, the governors, they have a role to play. The MPs in the country, you all have a role to play, but you all feel like you don't have a role to play. You have to leave everything to us, and we have to sacrifice when we die. There is nobody again to wake up. And this is very wrong. So the teachers in Africa also should notice that what they learn for 20 years, they are still poor. They are teaching others and other African children to become like them. So that is wickedness. They need to change the level. The teachers need to participate, my brother. Thank you so much for that question.
Wow,
Thank you so much.
this is very rich, right? Yeah, sure. Of all the WAEC, I think the Gambia did WAEC also. The West
Yeah.
African Examination Council, right? You have to pass English before you go to the university. Without
Of course.
English, you cannot go to the university. Anyway,
Yeah.
but what pieces up here is Japan used the Japanese to develop Japan to become a second superworld, right? The Indians, I mean the Chinese use Chinese. The Russians use Russian. The other countries that Germans use German, Italy use Italiano. The French use the French language in order to develop their country, and they are developed. While we still, focusing more on English, without English, you are not educated. And we are using English as a means of intelligence. Here, when you speak these big words in English, like you are educated, but this cannot take us anywhere, bro. Like you already exhausted everything, so we can able to move on to the next question. I don't know what's wrong, but bro, you already said everything. You already said everything, bro. You already said everything. Uh Sorry, the network. As we go to take it to the next question here is, which says, are you listening, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Tensions and destabilization of African continents like Congo, Sudan, and Nigeria, right? Now, for Congo, there is 6 million displaced, and in Sudan, there is 10 million displaced. And we also know, let's say Nigeria, they accept. We're going to talk about Nigeria accepted Boko Haram because if not, they will have done what Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger is doing. But just because the leader is programmed in order to keep Boko Haram where they are, they just dealt with these countries. Tension and destabilization of Africa through the Congo, the Sudan, and Nigeria. So what your takes on this particular destabilization? Because it's picking up in Africa right now. Like whole of this population, it is more worse than the one happening in Ukraine, more worse than the one happening in Palestine. But the whole world
yeah.
media, focus in these countries like as if Congo and Sudan is not a country to look at, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my brother, I complained about this before. Like I call it Africans insulting themselves. You know, when Africans feel like when Palestine was in war, when Africans feel like Palestine war is the most dangerous war than what was happening under their feet. Congo, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Sudan. Those are their fellow blacks. Those peoples have wars. Nobody raised their flag. And I saw Africans shouting, saying that free Palestine. I was like to cry. I was like, you have problem in your compound. You have fire burning your own house. And you see fire in your enemy house and you are shouting, my enemy fire, fire in my enemy house. We should go and help my enemy. In your own house when you have a fire. You know. So it is a very big pity. We have a destabilization in Africa, in so many countries. And those destabilizations, those terrorisms in African countries are caused by the Westerners. The root of Congo, the root to the problem of Congo, I will explain it to you. And the root to Boko Haram, I will explain it to you. And the root to Sudan, I will help you. I will explain it to you, the Sudan war. These are things that I have already known about these things. And Congo, when we came to Congo, Congo is not today, and Congo cannot be stopped when we don't change our ways. They will still be doing this to Congo. Why? Because Congo have been their target since 1840s. Congo have been their target. That is not today. When they have the Berlin conference, what do they discuss? About Congo, only Congo. They call it Berlin conference for us to see that they do they go to Berlin to discuss about their own solutions. No, they don't go to Berlin to discuss about Berlin or to discuss about Europe or Germany or Westerners. They go to Berlin to discuss about Congo. That's why still, as right now as I'm speaking to you, German, the biggest company in Germany today, it manufactures only the resources from Congo. Germany, today, the biggest factory today in Germany, the biggest factory that gives the most income to the German council are manufacturing resources that are from only Congo. And still they are taking it from Congo. And their so-called terrorist union that they call European Union is in support of, they are in support of Germany dealing with Congo in that way. But nobody is talking about that because everybody feel like you should not talk about the European Union because when you talk about them, they will come after you. And this is what people are afraid to tell European Union because they are in support of what Germany is doing today to Congo. Why do they send their soldiers to Congo? European Union sent their soldiers to Congo in 2021. When I talk about it, everybody, Africans feel like, no, there's nothing in it, there's nothing, these people go there to help Congolese. I told them, you people don't still understand. Why do they send their soldiers when Ukraine was already in war? Do you believe that a white man will send his soldiers to go and help an African in Africa when he is seeing his fellow white country in war? He don't send his soldiers there and send his soldiers to Congo to go and help them. Do you think they send their soldiers to go and help Congo? Because they see that they have already done what they want to do to Ukraine. Yes,
Ukraine have been feeding them the same way Africa have been feeding them, because all the oil and everything was from Ukraine. That's why in Ukraine war, there was very big hunger in Europe here. In Ukraine war, everything. By the time that time, we bought a bottle of oil, €2.50, and later then after the during the war of Ukraine, we bought it €5. Why? Because there was no production of oil anymore, because it's only Ukraine that produces it and give it to other European countries. So do you think EU will pick up their own soldiers and send them to go and help Congo when they knew that Ukraine is in war and they need to help Ukraine? Do you think they will take their children away from Europe and to go and help Congo and leave Ukraine? A Westerners
No,
will send their soldiers to go and help an African black country.
never, never, never,
So when they send their
never.
soldiers, many people says, many Africans were saying like, they go and help them, they go, and I say, you people don't understand. If European Union want to help, Ukraine is in war, let them go and help. What were they giving to Ukraine? They were giving only blanket and water to Ukraine. They stop at the border, none of them. Germans send their soldiers, they stop at the border. France send their soldiers, they stop at the border. EU soldiers stop at the border. We are giving only blanket and water to Ukraine peoples. None of them have the fit to enter. Poland, the same thing. We are here. We see them. Italy, the same thing. We see what we are doing. It was not like somebody have to tell us. We were witnessing everything. So during that war of Ukraine, they send their soldiers to Congo. EU sent their soldiers to Congo because there was this stone in Congo that give an electric supply. There was a stone in Congo at that time that give an electric supply from 2019 to 2020 to 2021. There was a stone that came out there. And this stone, even Congolese government don't know what to do with this stone. So what do? They have to inform EU about this stone. That is the most stupid part about African governments. When they have most valued things in their country, they don't know what to do with it. They have to inform the European Union or some of these Western countries to come and check it if they need it. So if those people need it, they come to your country and pick it away for free. You know, when you check it, when they were in Congo, I made a video. I say EU send their soldiers to Congo and they go for that stone and they will steal that stone, the girls in Congo, and they are dealing with Congo. And this is what people are not understanding. During that week, I saw Congolese coming out, the children and the mothers were complaining and chasing the EU soldiers away, but they were not ready to go. And they were threatening to shoot those people in Congo. How many African soldiers you will come to an European territory when European citizens says they don't need you, you started threatening them with gun? You can, as an African military, you will never try it. So why an European Union is sending their soldiers to an African country when those peoples don't want them, they're threatening them to shoot them? Why is that happen? Why do we give them that chance that they feel like they can do anything to us? They own us. They have to program us. They have to system us. We can't system ourselves. They have to be the one to decide who we will become, whether we will become poor or rich, whether we will become sick or healthy. They have to decide for us. They decide all these things for us. We don't decide nothing for ourselves. It became a very big bordering. From there, we jump and go to Nigeria, Boko Haram. It was a program that was like Islamophobia. It was all programmed. There was nobody in Boko Haram who is a real Muslim. Nobody. There is nobody in Boko Haram who is a Muslim. Quran was given to them by the Westerners. They want to put an implement or an effect on the Islam religion. What do? When they form the terrorist group in Nigeria called Boko Haram, they give them Quran to keep on shouting Allahu Akbar when they are killing innocent peoples. This was the plan of America and UK. And they will not say it. This is a lie. I swear to God. This was the plan of America and UK to make sure that they put that dirty part or that dirty point on the Islamic religion. And they want to make sure that Nigeria in that northern part is never free. Where was Boko Haram attacking at all when they started from the beginning? They were attacking only the northern side, northern part of Nigeria. Till those people were migrating and going to south and east and west, part of Nigeria. It was all happening because they find out that Nigeria in the northern part, they have a oil, they have a gold. And Inglaterra is in need of that oil. But they will not be able to take that oil if the peoples around those areas, they don't clear them off. How are they going to clear them? They are going to form a terrorist group and started clearing those places, so that everybody will see that place as a terrorist place. No African will investigate that part. And they will be the same peoples who caused that war. They will be the same people who will jump up to Nigeria to say, we came to help you. And they will stay in that northern part where they put the terrorist group. What are they doing there when terrorists are there? And they are not still killing the terrorists, but they are still because they came to take what they think it belongs to them. And still today, we are still having this disaster in Nigeria. Nigeria can never be stable. Why? Because when Nigeria is stable, Nigeria will be developed. When Nigeria is developed, the whole Africa will be developed. And they knew this. They will never let Nigeria to be free. That is not today. That was since like 1840s. They realized this about Nigeria. When we go to Sudan, the same thing. I talk about Sudan war. When that war came in Sudan, when two of the militaries who were so much lovely to each other, who were brothers, became to fight against each other, because one was controlled by the West, who was informed by the West and bribed by the West to fight against your fellow brother. If not, those two people were ruling Sudan peacefully. Two generals were ruling Sudan peacefully. Why all of a sudden they become enemy to each other to fight against each other? Because of the naval base that Russia wanted to build in Sudan area, and America doesn't want it to happen. When it happens, Sudan will be free, and I want Sudan to be free from them. Sudan is a country that is captured by America. Is their slave, is their country, that they want them to remain in poverty and in hunger. And they will not want anybody who will come and free Sudan from them. So they have to cause war. So that when that war is caused, Sudan will be destroyed and Sudan will not run away from them. What is Sudan doing today? What they want, that's what Sudan is doing today. Today, Sudan is begging America to build up their economy again. Because of the war that destroyed their economy. Everything was destroyed during the war. Now Sudan have to go back to America and beg them for development. That's what they want. They go to Africa, an African country, and destroy you so that you will come to them and beg them for development. Money is something that they print. It's a paper. They will print it as a paper and give it to you, but what they will take away from you is not a paper. It's something that cannot be bought with a paper. So
yeah, sure.
Will give you that paper, empty paper, and print it and give it to an African country and took resources from Africa. This is what they do to so many African countries. Look at Niger. When we are talking about all these countries, the destabilization of Africa. When we talk about all these countries, the wars and the conflict of all these African countries are not caused by Africans, are caused by the Westerners, and nobody is calling them criminals. Yes. Today, everybody is shouting about the war in Palestine, Gaza. Everybody want them to free. Even black Africans are shouting because they want them to be free. What are people saying right now when the war came to the part of Arab peoples? What are people saying? Human right, freedom. When there was war in black part in Sudan, nobody was talking about human right. Nobody. America violates human rights. When the conflict that was caused by the EU, the European Union in Congo, nobody tell European Union they violate the human right. When the European Union wake up in this 2023 to pay Tunis €1 billion to make sure that they maltreat black people and throw them in Sahara, nobody tell them that they are violating the human right. Nobody have the fit to call them. The so-called human right law, the whole human right law that Africans believe that stands for them, human right law is not for Africans. It is only for Africans when Westerners want Africans to accept something. When they want us to accept LGBTQ because they want to destroy us with that system, what do they tell us? If any country don't accept it, then you are against human right. That's the time they will emphasize human right to you because they want you to accept something.
Yeah,
But they will kill you.
sure.
They will not talk about human right.
Yeah, sure,
When they
bro.
destroy our peoples in Congo, our people are dying of hunger in Congo. Come on, how many of the Congolese do they want to kill still when they have killed billions of Congolese due to the resources that they have? And they are still killing them, and nobody is talking about human rights. But when they want us to accept LGBTQ, they are telling us that if any country don't accept it, then you are against human rights. So human rights only exists for Africans, or human rights have been explained to Africans only if they want Africans to accept something and we deny. They will say if you don't accept, you are against human rights. But human rights is never been explained or described to us when they are killing us. It's a big part. It's a big pity on Africans, my brother. How
Okay.
many times? I think Africans need to watch out for themselves. Yes, I want Africans to watch out for themselves. No matter
Okay.
anywhere you are.
Th- Thank you
Thank you so much, my brother.
very, thank you very much. I think this is very amazing, and our listeners too very amazed, to watch this interview live. And we are seeing the comments. We cannot able to reply comments for now, but we will reply them later. And we appreciate all your comments, right? Just make sure you write your comment down. We'll do the reply later. Maybe me or Pandi Maica will
Yeah.
do the reply later. So thank
Yeah.
you very much. As we go to the next question. So what is the problem of our African leaders with no ability and empty mindset who put their interest first above their nation, above the continent? What's your take on that?
Yeah, African leaders. I call them the soldiers of the West because they were employed by the West, not by us. Yes. African leaders are peoples who are standing there for only West. Yes. Today, my brother, one African country wake up and says, we don't need white people. Your president will be the first person who will against you and said it cannot be happen. We need them. They have to live in this country. Why? I think a president, as a president of your country, you must always be at the side of your peoples, what your peoples want. So why when your people says we don't want white people, you as a president, you have to say, no, we need them by force. This law cannot be accepted. You have to brutally beat your citizens for white peoples because they are soldiers of the West. All the African leaders, all these puppets you are seeing, Ghana president, go to Kenya president, even Kenya president who was just blabbing before. These are all peoples who are
Yeah,
puppets.
sure. He's just quiet now. I just don't know.
He is quiet because peoples know his secret. That's why he is very quiet now. He cannot speak no more. He don't have mouth no more. Before he have mouth because he think like what he was doing, peoples are not aware of it. When he realized that peoples are aware of what he is doing, the strategy he is playing on Kenya, he became so quiet. Because he already knew we know his plan. And we are not going to let him succeed. We are going to sell him out to his peoples, to let his peoples know which kind of man is ruling them. And this make him so quiet. So all these leaders you are seeing in Africa, they are all puppets to the West. And all the puppets you are seeing, they are soldiers of the West. The West employ them. We don't employ them. None of these African leaders were chosen by us. Trust me. Maybe when they form a political party and you are among that political party, you say, no, we choose our leader. No, you are not even the one who choose him. Because within our power, we cannot choose leader for ourselves. There are people who control the system for us. And they decide who will rule us. We don't decide who rule us. The Westerners decide who rule us. But we have never decided who will rule the Westerners. We don't even know how their political game plays. But they are the people who knows how our political game plays, and they control our political system, and they control our leadership systems. They have to decide who will rule us and who will not rule us. So this is the biggest problem. That African leaders, none of them, when we all say, oh, we need changes in this country, we need changes in this country, and you change. You think you are the one who do changes? No. We think like we are the one who choose and changes and remove this one and put this one. No. The Westerners are running the system. How do they run this system? All of the leaders you are seeing, they are leaders who are very connected to West than their own country. Why? Why are they so connected to West than their own peoples? Because the West is the one who is commanding them, the West employ them, and the West command them. Today, if the Westerners say, when you check, let's take an example from this place, from Mali. when Mali said they don't need France. What do African leaders do? The other African leaders, instead of to come together and defend their brother, they come together and against their brother to defend the West. Because the West was commanding them to wake up and gang up against Mali soldier group leader Assimi to make sure that he is suffer, to make sure that he go back to France. So all African leaders wake up and put sanctions on Mali to make sure that Mali suffer. Even the so-called African Union, the so-called African Union that Africans believe that they have a union called African Union, when even that union is being controlled by the West. That is the second European Union that they built in Africa, and they call it African Union. The second European Union we have in Africa. Because European Union can never sit and make a meeting to discuss about the development of Africa without calling an European Union Parliament members to come and answer, to come and sit and listen to them. So if they say anything that is a development for Africa there, the European Union members will say, this we don't accept. But we will write it down and go back to our parliament. Whatever we discuss there, then we will send you people a feedback. And when those people don't accept it, African Union will never do it. Even if it is a better thing for Africa. It's the biggest problem. A biggest problem in Africa. So this is how they control the African leaders. And African leaders have never been employed by us. Look at this. There was this one president who was not employed by the West. That president of Gambia, the former president of Gambia, Yaya Jammeh. Yes. He was not employed by the West. Yeah, any leader who is not employed by the West, they never work with the West. Any leader who is never employed by the West will never say good things about them. Yaya Jammeh was not employed by the West, and the West have never said good things about them. And Gambians today, they think like they were the peoples. In their power, they change the president. No. The Gambian president who is ruling them right now was in Angleterre, and that one was sponsored by Tony Blair from UK. He knows what I'm saying, the Gambian president right now. He knows what I'm saying. He was sponsored by Tony Blair from UK to push him to that level. At that time, Tony Blair and Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister of Angleterre, they were too close, and they have to do plan to make sure that how to rule Gambia. So they have to push somebody who will go into political system and become a president. And that's what happened. When they want changes, changes happen. When Gambians were crying for so many years, we want changes, who helped them? But the time the people who control the system want changes, the changes happen. That is all African countries. We can cry. Today Nigeria is crying. We don't want Tinubu, we don't want Tinubu. Because the controllers of the system in Nigeria are not ready for change. When they are ready for change, they will remove Tinubu and put somebody. Very fast. Very good. Because Tinubu was programmed by them, and they know that man is still available to be used. Yes, they can still use that man for many things. When Tinubu last became the president, why do they immediately choose him to become the chairman of ECOWAS? Because it was programmed before even they will put him in power. It was their system that they programmed. You know, there was a mandate between them, between the West and Tinubu. And Tinubu will never fail that. Because if Tinubu failed to answer to them, to answer to their call, they are going to bring him down. Or they are going to leak the secret behind Tinubu. Why do the files of the secret behind Tinubu, the FBI hide it? And still Nigerians don't know nothing about that. Why are the FBI hiding it? Because that is when Tinubu disagree with them, they are going to leak the secret. But when, as far as Tinubu is a slave to them, they will leave Nigerians to suffer. They don't care about Nigerians. They care about the deal between them and the president of Nigeria. That's what they care about. So I think people need to know that our leaders in Africa are not employed by us. That's why they can never even have pity for us, because you and me don't vote them in. They know who vote them in. That's why they respect those people. When we were the one who vote them in, they will respect us. But they knew it that we were not the one who put them there. It's not our power who put them there. It's the Westerners that pushed them there. Westerners. Oh shit.
Okay, I think it's due to somebody. I think somebody called him, but he will be here soon. We're going to add him again. He will join us soon. Yeah, guys, thank you very much. I hope you are enjoying the program, right? It is very
sorry, my brother. Sorry, I think it's my own when somebody calls me up there, you know. Sorry, okay, my brother. Yeah, we can move to the next question.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. As we already exhausted so much, what means for Africans to be embarrassed or embrace our culture? You know, like we've been talking about culture. Like for now here in Africa, this is going to be is a talk of our time now. We are, you know, our culture, like the music, is already out there in the world. Everybody is trying to embrace Africa, but sometimes you know, Africa, we still neglect our culture, which inspired other people, but we don't know. So how what are the steps of, you know, for us to embrace our culture? The important, the significance is of embracing our culture, because we want to eradicate everything, because we want change in Africa. So when we want the change, and the change must happen. Look at you know, China. They embrace that and that of their kung fu and stuff like that. That makes them to be popular in the world. Likewise, the Indians. Look at India, the dresses, the food, everything they try to portray in their movies. So what they want you to see is what you're going to see. But for here in Africa, we look low upon our culture, because even though if the weather is not favorable, you have to make this coat and tie, you know, for you to be feel like, you know, you know, you are a big man. In court, you have to wear this wig, this court wig, as if is the wig that makes you to have the brain for be a lawyer, right? While the Arabs wear this of their crowns, you know, in the court, in everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you so much, my brother. You see, that part is the most important part that Africans must understand. One thing about themselves. Yes. Why an African man, like you said, when you check Indians, when an Indian man stand anywhere, you will know that he's an Indian.
Yeah, sure.
When an Indian man speak anywhere, even if he is speaking English, you will know that he's an Indian, he's not an American. When an Indian man go anywhere, when a Chinese man go anywhere, you will know that this is a Chinese man. When he speak, you will know that even if he speak English, you will still know it's a Chinese, because you know, their culture stay with them. Even the way they speak, even if they are speaking another language that is not Chinese language, you will still know that they are Chinese. Why? Because their culture is in them, in everything, in action, in speaking, in everything. Their culture is with them. Africans are the only peoples who were taught that their culture is nothing for them, and they believe it. And those peoples who told us that our cultures are nothing to us, those are the peoples who are today copying our cultures and believing in our cultures and living in our cultures and developing themselves with our cultures today, my brother. That's what makes me angry so much. That what you told me is not good for me, and I throw it away, and you go and pick it, and you are benefiting yourself with it, and I'm still there opening my mouth, still believing that my own thing or my own forefathers' rule is not a role to play. Africans are the only peoples who peoples tell them what is good for them and what is not good for them, and they believe it, but they are never commanding nobody. When you go to Arabs, wherever an Arab man come out, you know that they are Arabs due to their own culture, because they respect their culture. Since when, whatever they were doing, still just those are the same systems they live on. We only know Arab man with a long robe, white one, and they cover their head with the tide, you know, and still they are living with it. An African man, what is our culture? Today, when you dress like your forefathers, they will say you are a local man. Nobody will respect you in the society. They will say if you are even mad. Yeah, when you dress like your forefathers, they will say you are crazy, you are a local man. Everybody will look down on you. Why? Because they have changed our mentality against ourselves. They have taught us that our mentality or our culture is nothing to us. Our culture is nothing. So we, now if anybody depend on our cultures, we feel like those people are crazy. Or this man is a local man. Yes. We call them locals. Yeah, your eyes is not open. You are not wise. You are illiterate. You don't know nothing. We call them all these stupid names. Because we believe that if anybody who go back to our cultures, that man is crazy. That's what they make us believe. But we are seeing other people, and you know what is the biggest problem of us? We don't believe in our own, and we believe in other people's cultures, and we took their cultures like our own. We even respect their cultures more than themselves. Yes, today white man culture is respected in Africa than African culture. Arab man culture is respected in Africa than African culture. And Indian man culture is respected in Africa than African man culture. Why is that happening? And Chinese man culture is respected in Africa than an African culture. Why is that happen? And we the Africans, how many Africans are living in Europe today? It's more than billions of Africans are living here. But still our culture have nothing. Our culture is nothing to these peoples. Yes, Europeans. No matter how we are many here, they still see us like useless people. So our culture is nothing. We cannot even improve our culture in Europe. Today, when we have only one European in Africa today, everybody will respect their culture. They go with their culture there and teach us their culture, and we believe that that is the best part to play. We want to know ourselves through someone culture. That is what is happening to us. That's why sometimes we complain like Africans don't know themselves. We cannot know ourselves because Africans wanted to know themselves through another man culture. You cannot know yourself with another man culture. You can only know yourself with your own culture. You cannot learn English and you say I want to know science with English, and you are learning English and you say I want to know science. It is not possible. You cannot learn mathematics and you say I want to know English. It is impossible. So Africans are learning another man's culture and we say we want to know ourselves. How are we going to know ourselves when we are not learning about our own cultures? We are learning about another man's culture. And we want to know ourselves through another man's culture. It is impossible. Drop the Arab culture, drop the white man culture. They have nothing to do with you. Your culture that you drop, that's what Finland is using today. Finland is using today and enriching their government. When you go to Finland today, they are developed due to the status of the cultures that was stolen from Benin, and they are benefiting their government with that. Do you know how much money they
museums, all their museums, the British Museum, the Italian Museum, the German Museum,
Thank you.
all these museums is African artifact is out there.
Thank you so much. And do you know how many millions they make, millions of euros they make in every year out of that? And we Africans are there, we still feel like, that's why we don't even know nothing about ourselves. We know more about them than ourselves because we learn about them. We don't learn about ourselves. Their culture is what we learn. We don't learn our own culture. So we're going to know ourselves by learning white man culture. How are we going to know ourselves? Today, even our black brothers who go to Saudi Arabia to learn Quran, do you think most of them, they learn Quran? They don't learn Quran. Saudi Arabia is not stupid to teach you Quran. They are teaching you about their cultures. When you came back with their cultures. You started dressing like them. You started speaking like them. You started reading Quran like them. You want to be like them. You no more want to be like your forefathers. Yes, you want to be like South African forefathers, South Arabian forefathers. Because that's what you learn. They teach you about their forefathers. They teach you about their culture. They don't teach you about what you go there for. So when you come back, you will have problem with your fellow black peoples because you feel like those people don't know nothing. And those people feel like you are crazy. So you see the problem between Africans can never finish. Even our people who go to America, when they come back, how do they dress? When they come back, how do they speak? You started seeing them slanting English like they came from heaven. The problem is there. Because Americans teach you their culture, and now you pick up their culture and go back to your people, and you want to teach your people. You want to tell your people that if you don't behave like American, you are nobody. It's a big problem. When we came to their country, what do they tell us? Go and learn our language first. Before we will give you a job, before you will have our document, you have to go and learn our language. You see how they respect their language and their culture? And you have to accept their culture. When you want to stay in Europe safely, you have to respect their culture. You can never misbehave on their culture. When you try it, they will send you back to Africa or they jail you for messing up their culture. But a white man will come to Africa and mess up with African culture and we are laughing with him. We feel like white man can never make mistake. White man can never be beaten. My brother, beat the hell out of them. These people know what they are doing. They will come to us with their culture and they will make sure they will look down on our own cultures in Africa. And when we come to them, we can never try it. When they came to us, we have to try and speak with them on their own language. And we are not telling them to go and learn our language. Why are we not telling them to learn our local language? When you came here in Europe here, there are so many. If you go to France, you meet French citizens who speak English. But do you know when you meet them on the street, you are a black man, and you ask them in English, they will tell you that speak French. I cannot speak English. Because they don't want to speak English with you. They want to speak their own language with you due to the respect and regard they have for their language. They don't want to speak your
Yeah.
language. They don't want to speak anybody language with you. If you want to communicate with them, you have to go and learn their language, or else there's no communication between you and them, because they have respect for their language. And we have no respect for our languages. We have no respect for our cultures. When white people came, we still have to struggle and speak their language. Somebody came to my country, I have to still struggle. That person should be the one to struggle to speak my language, to communicate with me. But I will still be the one to struggle and communicate with him. When I go to his country, I will still be the one to struggle and speak his language. This is what Africans are failing to understand. When we came to them, we have to struggle and learn their language to communicate with them. When they came to us, we have to struggle and speak their language to communicate with them. What is our problem? When we go to their land, we have to struggle to learn their language, to learn their culture. When they came to us, we have to struggle again to learn their language and to learn their culture. What is our problem? So we have a problem in this culture part, my brother. So thank you for that question. And we go
Thank
to
you
this.
very much. You raise a very important part where you say even though they are in Africa, they cannot learn their language. This happens. Julius Malema, I listened to Julius, one of his speech when he said that the people in South Africa, even the white living in South Africa, the white citizens in South Africa, they cannot speak the another language of South Africa like the Ngosa, the Zulu. Only few of them. The remaining ones cannot even interact with the black in the same country. They cannot attend the same school, and they cannot speak the language of the other black people, even though
Sorry,
they
I
are the
didn't quote you.
minority, but they cannot speak the language of other people.
Sorry, I didn't quote you. You see that part. When I listened to Julius Malema that part, I was like, he clicked the right button, because that place is what I have been saying about South Africa. We have a place in South Africa where no black man go in, only white people go in.
Yeah.
That place we have it in South Africa. Only white people go in there. If you are a black man, you can never go there. In your own land, white people take your territory. South Africa is going to be taken over by white peoples again if you are not careful. Yes, white people are trying to rule over them again. And what Julius Malema said is true. There are some schools only white children go there. That is in the society where no black man go. That school was built in this white man society in South Africa where no black man go there. And only white children go to that school. No black child go to that school. What are they saying? What are they telling you? They have power in your own land. No matter how we stay in Europe, we can never have our own community. We can never build our own school to say that it's only black children who will go to this school. We can never build it in Western part. No matter how long we stay here, there are people who stay here for 70 years, they couldn't build nothing. They will never give you the chance to build up yourself. They will never give you chance to express your culture to them. Never. You know why? They don't want you to change their children's mentality. They want their children to believe in their culture. They don't want you to emphasize your culture among them, and some of their children will go and believe in your own culture than their own culture. So they don't want that to happen. That's why they will never give any black man a chance to build up a community here or to build up your culture part here. No, never. The only culture part they allow black people to establish here is the stupidness part. Yes. You can see black people sitting on the road beating drum. And black people feel like, yeah, it's our culture. If black people do cultural festival here, what do? It's only drum they go and beat there and separate. What do? That's why white people allow them to do that, to make them feel like, oh, we express ourselves. This is our culture. Today is our Black Man Cultural Day, so we are celebrating our cultural day. Black people, you see them following each other, and even their own cultural day, they don't behave like black peoples. They behave like Europeans, Americans, and UK. They don't behave like if you meet Africans there in the African Cultural Day and they are celebrating their own cultural day, you find out that no African is there who dress like an African. No African is there who is behaving like an African. All of them are behaving like foreigners. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you very so much. The next question here is, it said that religion has the negative effect of the growth of Africa. What's your takes on this? Because religion, many people like be saying like religion have negative effect of Africa. Like different idea, different aspect. People talking like when we believe in what that makes us not to to work hard. Religion have gives us a mentality wherein we cannot able to focus more on stuff like developmentally oriented So what is the negative effect of religion in our society?
There are two religions that were given to Africans, that is Muslim and Christianity. And these two religions, I tell you, these two religions, we have so many fabrication things that were created by, man-made, that were created by these men who want to control Africa, and they add it on the religion. Because this is what they make Africans to believe, that God is not your mate, and Africans are too much afraid of God. Africans are too much afraid of hellfire. But the people who brought those books to us are not afraid of hellfire.